back to the room. The pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They're afraid of Mike, they won't take the chair.
I'm loud. Okay, we're gonna do roll call. Paul Cassidy.
Here.
Tanya Hogan, here. Jerry Golka.
Here.
John DeBoyer.
Here.
Mark Burchard.
Here.
Maureen Bory. Here. Brian, absent.
All right. We'll move on to bills payable. We have an invoice payable 5.27.25. Yes, the bills is closed. We have a motion.
Before we do that, I'd like to make a change to the agenda.
Okay.
Bills payable, the OMH, the amount of $50,000.
Need to speak, you need a mic.
Yeah, the mics.
Don't you have it here? Paul, speak up, Paul.
Okay, I'd like to make a change to the agenda, the OMH contract money of $51,000. I want to move that to 1S on the agenda. Is that the motion?
Support.
Not support?
Any discussion? Go ahead, Tanya.
You wanna do a roll call?
Sure.
John DeBoyer.
Yes.
Maureen Bory. Mark Burchard. Paul Cassidy.
Yes.
Jerry Golka.
Yes.
Tanya Hogan. Yes.
All right. Aside from that, then all bills payable, aside from that bill, do we have a motion on that?
I will make a motion to approve the bills payable, which, so, in the amount of, how much do we subtract, just the 51,000?
Roughly 22,000.
Yeah, roughly $22,000, give or take, was subtracting that one bill for OHM. I make a motion to approve all the bills payable.
Support.
One question, reimbursement for feasibility study mailing to Trustee Bory. What was that for?
Maureen had sent out mailings for the contract.
That was for the 10 contractors, so they could bid on the OHM contract, and I got a certificate of mailing so that I could prove that I mailed it to each of those.
What was the date on that?
December 23rd, I believe. Because our special meeting was on the 20th. I emailed everything and also mailed
Did
it.
I read that right?
December 23rd was the date of the invoice?
I don't know if it was the 23rd or, let me look.
And that was for mailing of what?
The request for a proposal on the OHM contract, yes, the 23rd.
Okay.
Or if not the OHM, for the feasibility study that OHM was the only one that responded to.
Okay.
Give him 5 days.
Is there a reason our clerk didn't send that out?
I wasn't given it to send out.
Typically, our clerk would send something like that out, wouldn't they?
Well, did it get sent out or not?
No, I'm just
It
asking
was,
because typically.
time was of the essence because it had to be, everything had to be done. And Tanya was just busy taking over the job, learning the job, John. I did that as a favor so that she would have, be able to do her other duties.
Oh, why didn't the rest of the board know about it?
Okay. So if Jerry or Paul or anybody's busy, you need me to do your job, let me know.
I just want to clarify that I just received the receipt. I never received the information nor asked for it to
I
be
gave
sent
you the
out.
receipt in December.
I know, but you didn't even give me the information to give me a chance to mail it out. You just did it, so I don't want people thinking that I'm not in there doing my job.
Well, I didn't say that whatsoever. I just did it as a courtesy. I thought it was the easiest.
Well, there's a
I mean, you already been on the job a month.
No, I understand that. I just want to make it clear that I didn't even have the information to send out.
Right.
Nor was given a chance.
So I won't do anything in the future to help.
I'm good, that's all I got.
Okay, Roll call?
Maury?
Yes.
Mark Richard?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hogan? Yes. John DeBoyer?
Yes.
All right, this is now open for a public hearing on soil removal for Silent Acre Farms and Algonac Sand and Gravel Supply LLC. Our notice was properly filed. Does anybody have anything they would like to?
You need to make a motion to open it up.
Opening it up for public.
You need to make a
Well,
motion and vote
I'll
on
make
it,
a
open
motion
it
to
up.
have a public hearing.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we want to have anybody speak on either of these issues?
We only have one mic?
You want to use this one, Mr. Bryson? You got to talk straight into it.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to say about both soil removal permits, I'm very in favor for both of them. I read the report from the building official, and he didn't find anything wrong. And without these two businesses going, the cost of construction, anything, of dirt, sand, any materials, it's gonna go way up for the whole township. Thank you. Got someone else?
I don't usually need a microphone. My name's Al Francis. I represent Algonac Sand and Gravel. I don't have a whole lot to say. I just wanted to let the board know we're here. If there's any questions that they have regarding our permit, my clients were provided with a compliance checklist. They returned that to the building inspector, who went through and verified all the items on the compliance checklist and is recommending approval. But if there are any questions, we're here to answer them.
Anybody else? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the soil removal permits for Silent Acres,
No.
Silent Acres and Algonac Sand.
You gotta close the hearing.
Close the public hearing.
Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing for the soil permit removals.
I'll second your motion.
Any discussion? The only discussion I want to make, if I could, is I did look into the history of both the Algonac Sand and Gravel Pit. Now, what I discovered is when the prior owners sought approval, and they submitted a plan to the planning commission. And according to our chairwoman of the planning commission, they never acted upon it. It was taken at the time by Mr. Bryson to the full board. The planning commission never passed upon it. Not that they have to, I'm just saying that they didn't.
You don't have to.
And so now there are people that claim there are issues. Nobody's spoken up here, but there are people that claim there are issues, and maybe Mr. Francis could address them. But we do have this correspondence from Mr. Barrow, and he does indicate that a couple things are perhaps not correct. Am I saying that right, Mr. Barrow?
There's a big story there.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
So in my opinion, until those corrections are made, we should withhold a vote on whether or not to approve it. And if there are problems, now, I know Mr. Barrow put in here that they are 75 feet from the property next door. And under our ordinance, they're not allowed to dig within 75 feet of that property next door. I've met with an attorney who was out there representing a neighboring landowner who says they're within 10 feet. And I think that we should just, and I know Mr. Barrow and I talked about this once before, didn't we? When I first got on the job, and I think you said that there may be some excavation falling into the pit, but that they are digging 75 feet. Is that, am I correct?
They are greater than 75 feet away. And anything on that list that you have before me, that I answered Bori's questions, should not determined. I am still 100% behind that this plan, that this soil removal should go forward. I am still backing it, that it should be approved. So none of the items on that, I'm saying that it is an outdated checklist. I'm saying that probably the township shouldn't even be doing this checklist, because it is outdated. There is only 2 properties in the entire township that are actually doing this type of inspection. No other business has to do this. Planning Commission, as a general rule, will do a site plan approval. They'll approve it, they'll submit it to the township board for approval, and then that's it. It's never inspected again. And why we continually do this on a yearly basis, I'm not quite sure why. But nothing in that list, we have an outdated list, so whereas there's terminology in that outdated checklist of whether or not it's DNR or Eagle, yeah, there's some corrections that should be made in the checklist that has nothing to do with the operation that's going on there. They are in compliance, in my opinion, they are in compliance with what is required of them to remove sand from that site.
Discussion on this is item 1F on the agenda. Are we doing it now? We having discussion now, or are we gonna discuss it later?
Well, we
Because
closed
this is
the
just a
meeting,
public hearing.
and now there's been a.
The chair decided it to do it.
Do you wanna do it now, Paul, or you wanna?
Look, is there any objection?
Yeah, I have objections.
Okay, well, what's your objection?
You want me to read them?
No, your objection to having this heard right now. You have an objection?
I think we should follow the agenda. It was just a public hearing.
Okay,
Time for
all right,
people to.
close the public hearing, we'll move on. We go to the consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which has payroll for April, board approved from 4/28, in between board meetings, Board of Trustees meeting minutes for 4/29 and 4/28. And then we also had a communication, we got a thank you letter from the Council on Aging for sending them an arbitration.
Support.
Do you have any support for a motion to,
I support it.
Maureen supported.
okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda passes. We can go to the supervisor's report. I think a lot of people are aware that I have proposed the ferry ordinance to help protect the health, welfare, and the safety of our citizens. I'm sure there'll be some pushback from some people, but I think that it is a legally enforceable ordinance. I had this ordinance, a similar ordinance was adopted in another community, and I took this ordinance and changed some things, and then I sent it to a township attorney who is a specialist in franchise agreements. Now, there was a law passed, Public Act 240, 1917, where it took Public Service Commission, what's no longer needed to govern the ferry, and they put it under the state police. And I will tell you that that law was passed by Dan lawyers who recognized, as the state Senate, state House recognized, that was a law that affected only one business in the whole state of Michigan, and it was, in fact, the ferry. I have proposed the ordinance. It should be online if anybody would like to see it or read it. And I think it's long past due.
There's copies here too.
Okay. Aside from that, I have talked to Mr. Hurricane, who's the chairman of HIDA, and he recently went to a meeting with Mr. Jacob Bryson at Blue Water Transportation Area Commission, and they discussed trying to work some kind of an arrangement to help facilitate pay money, operating cost money to the Hartson's Island Ferry to help reduce or control rates. And Mr. Bain is here, and he could maybe fill us in a little bit if he would.
Yeah. Okay. Supervisor's report.
So we went to the meeting. Everybody gets one, so they know what's going on the side. So in the packet, Jake Bryson. Mike.
Grab the mic.
I'll get the mic.
Yeah.
So the reason why there hasn't been any HIDA meetings is because we've been waiting for Jake Bryson to be available, because first of all, there was ice jam and everything else like that.
Speak that, please.
Why we didn't have the meetings right away, because Jake Bryson canceled a couple of the meetings because of the ice jams, which is understandable, because everybody, you know, they know the ferry. So we met on May 16th, and he was talking, he wanted the agreement about what it would look like for getting Act 51 money. And Dave McElroy, it's all in there, it'll be on the website for the HIDA website, and it will be on the Clay Township website, they can fit it on there. So Dave McElroy, from their standpoint, the operating agreement would look like they'd have to go through HIDA, because they cannot contract with us directly, which was the Blue Water. So Jake Bryson is asking if he can, you know, qualify for Act 51 money. Act 51 money is taxes paid by gas taxes. And, you know, when I was in Dan Lauer's office about 2 years ago, and he was talking about it, he said that they didn't qualify. So we were trying to figure out a way to get them to qualify. And they would still fall under HIDA, because HIDA would have to be the governing body of it, because Blue Water really has no action in this community at all, other than just to be a pass down through HIDA. The meeting was about 45 minutes long, and it talks about a bunch of stuff, and it talks about all of what Jake Bryson can do, what he can't do, what HIDA can do, what HIDA can't do. What it all stems down is he's actually investigating tax dollars to pay to run the ferry operations. The gas, all the maintenance, all things it's gonna run. And it boils down to, he's asking for he's gonna ask for tax dollars if he goes for Act 51 money. And that, it'll be up on the website, and that's about all. That's about it.
Thank you. We also have some other items. The Hartson's Island wastewater treatment plant. I'd like the board to think about how they want to handle it from this point forward. As you know, the price went up and down again. And there is an engineer that wants to compete with Mr. Monty's proposals. And I asked Mr. Monty to stop working on it until this board could decide how it wants to proceed with this. Do we want somebody to proceed with their own engineering as they would engineer it and then build it? Or, which wouldn't be apples to apples, obviously, but it would have to show, you know, obviously the end result, what it's gonna be worth. And so, I think that's something the board should consider. We have water and sewer issues. I've gotten some feedback by people who said they don't want a water line, they don't want a sewer line. And that's the feedback I got from some people. They are in disrepair. They are ready to go to be built. And so we as a board are gonna have to vote on that. Now, there was a grant available on the one job that's gonna pay 2.5 million, but that's not gonna be enough to cover that entire job. There is no grant money available on the water line. So at this point, we are meeting with a company called Waterworks to help figure out how much we would have to raise rates to pay for this water and sewer line. Because nobody's giving it to us for free. And so we're going to have to do that, and I think we're meeting with them on the 4th. And we hope to get a picture of what rates would be in the event that we secured a bond and had to pay for all this through a bond.
Mr. Supervisor, did you say there's no grant money for the water projects?
We already, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I have it
We
too.
went over them once.
So on our big water main project on M29, there's a $2.5 million.
That's the one we have. We do
And
have
on our
that.
small water main project, Anchor Bay Drive to Zobel, there's a $750,000 grant. So
I
I just
know,
wanted to
but,
make sure we were clear on that.
but I'm trying to make, the point I'm making is, there's no future grants here. We got
Oh,
what we're
future
gonna get. Okay?
Correct.
We got what we're gonna get.
Right, but to
Just
say
so
there's no
people
grants
know.
isn't quite accurate.
Well, there aren't any more grants, Tom, but you can argue it if you want. And with that, I have nothing further to say. We'll open up for public comment. Mr. Bryson?
I have two items I wanted to discuss. I just learned that you put the RFPs out December 23rd, and they're supposed to be in by December 30th. Now we have Christmas and Christmas Eve between that, and it's a very complicated situation you're asking for. There's no way they're gonna respond. ARPA rules dictate you have to put it out for public advertisement for 45 days. I want to talk about the proposed bond you're gonna post or want to pull for $7.5 million. The main water main project went out for bid $8.5 million. We received $2.5 million grant for it. So we have a balance of $6 million. The water department has $5 million in fund balance. And the general has $3 million. So general could loan $1.5 million to water. So you could do that without a bond. The sewer interceptor project is $3 million. We got a $1 million grant for it. And we split with IRA. That can be handled 100% with fund balance in the sewer department. The small diameter sewer project, this board approved it and awarded it in a meeting in January. And even when they awarded it, they're talking amongst themselves, we have no way to fund it yet. We don't have a way to fund it yet. So why would they approve something without funding? We're talking about $3 million. I think what, 3.2 Paul was? I'm not sure. 3.6. And to my dismay, in November or in December, March, when everyone was asking for earmarks, this board did not ask for an earmark, federal earmark for this sewer project. We have three projects, water and sewer. We got 3 grants. They never told Clay Township no to fund one of these. They didn't ask, that's why there's not a grant for it. But they did apply for a federal earmark of $10 million for a new ferry. Thank you.
Anybody else? Would you want to come on up here?
No, I think I'm standing right here and be able to talk.
There was a young lady back there.
I'll wait, go ahead.
I want to know, my name is Harry Michalowski. I've been on the island for 45 years. I came here in 1952 when I was 16 years old to hunt on a Vort farm. I've never had a problem with the ferry or anything like that. I've never had a problem with the family. I've never had a problem with anybody here. But I want to know, what does this proposal cost us in the township already? Who brought it forward and who's paying for it? I have it in my hand. It says the supervisor. How much did this cost us just to print this? Who paid for it?
No,
Out of the taxpayers' money?
it's paid for. it's
Or did you
been
pay
done
for it?
years, on the back of the water bill. It's been done that way for years.
This Harson's Island transportation, as long as I can remember, has been after the ferry, after the ferry, after the ferry. We have two people that passed away now, the owners of it, David and Nancy, this week. The harassment and harassment and harassment on this ferry. If the people do not like it, they can move off the island. Or they can come here. But the point of this is, to do what you think you can do, it's not feasible. We have a ferry. We have people that take care of it. They're here. But the mother and father are gone now. Here's the son here. Here's a daughter-in-law here. They're doing everything they can. You come in and you printed this thing. But I want to know how much this cost just to print this here. You brought it up. Give us a figure right now. Get the microphone so they can hear you.
You've had your say, sir. Please have a seat.
He won't answer yet.
And like I say, if you don't like it, move off.
Regarding agenda item 1Q OHM contract, I will detail with proof why two HIDA members of this board should recuse themselves from any motions related to this topic. Anybody can find the following information on HIDA's own website, harsonsita.org. Article 2, Section 2 of HIDA's own Articles of Incorporation clearly states HIDA's intent, which is, quote, to plan, promote, purchase, acquire, establish, own, operate, maintain, enlarge, modernize the transit waterway system. That's 11 verbs for those of you counting. Basically, HIDA started out with just $500 in their account according to their very first meeting, but plans on having a total ownership of a second ferry costing $38 million according to HIDA's own business plan. Apparently, HIDA and only HIDA can start with just $500 and with a decade, beg, borrow, and millage their way to $38 million tax-free. Article 2, Section 3 states HIDA members will do, quote, all things necessary for the accomplishment of the above purposes, end quote. Article 3 reinforces this by stating HIDA members will, quote, do everything and anything necessary for the achievement of the purposes stated above, end quote. Based on these two HIDA's articles of incorporation, it's up to the trustees board to decide if subverting the will of the voters is one of the actions HIDA members will take to accomplish its goal of owning a second ferry. The financial conflict for trustee Maureen Bory is she received 13 checks directly from HIDA, according to HIDA's own publicly available financial documents. Bory was the HIDA administrative assistant and is thus heavily biased towards their cause, which obviously includes funding and approving this Phase 2 feasibility study. The conflict for Supervisor Paul Cassidy is that HIDA paid OHM $62,000 for the Phase 1 feasibility study, while Cassidy was a HIDA board member. Of course, as a former HIDA member, Article 2 and Article 3, which I've read earlier, both suggest Cassidy will do, quote, all things necessary, end quote, to fund and approve this Phase 2 feasibility study with bias. Now, as a precedent, on June 13, 2021, HIDA meeting minutes show, quote, it was requested that Supervisor Bryson recuse himself due to a conflict of interest. He agreed to do this, end quote. If former Supervisor Bryson had the integrity to recuse himself, then current Supervisor Cassidy, a former judge, should have the honor to do the same. I publicly request that all the current and former HIDA members recuse themselves from anything related to the stated purpose. Specifically, Supervisor Cassidy and Trustee Bory should recuse themselves from any motions pertaining to agenda item 1Q regarding the OHM contract for reasons stated above. If these two HIDA members reject this request, at least the public record will prove to all Clay Township residents the double standard and hypocrisy ingrained in HIDA. Thank you.
My name is Pam, and I am talking about the Champion Ferry at first, and it's very troubling to me that you, Mr. Cassidy, engaged OHM for a feasibility study without board transparency.
Bring the mic to your mouth.
We can't hear you.
Go up,
And I'm
okay.
close, so bring it to your mouth.
Really
Like
close.
this?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so, Mr. Cassidy, you engaged OHM for a feasibility study without board transparency. Now you're using that study as justification to change the rules and target a single business. That's not fair governance, that's targeted regulation. Champions owns its stock, its vessels, and its infrastructure. This board doesn't. This ordinance isn't just vulnerable, it's legally indefensible, and it exposes the township to lawsuits you will lose and taxpayers will pay for. Regarding the OHM contract, I have several questions that I'm hoping the board will finally answer tonight, and I do have a list that I will pass out so that you can read them yourselves. Some of the questions are, who first contacted OHM advisors, and was that done independently or in coordination with any other board member? How did OHM know what to include in the contract, determining the scope of work, and draft the contract just 3 days after the December 20th, 2024 board meeting without board input? Has the board sought legal advice regarding the potential invalidity of the OHM contract due to the lack of prior authorization? And why was a PDF posted on the website of an unsigned contract with OHM when Cassidy had already signed it on 12/30/24? I've got 7 questions here that I will pass out.
Are there any other persons that would like?
Hello, everybody. On a lighter note, my name is Tony Braswell. We have just opened the concession stand at the Splash Pad, and I would just like to thank everyone who came out over the weekend and helped support us, and hope to see the rest of you guys out through the summer and everything else. So that's all I've got. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. Bradfield's also a candidate for the soon-to-be vacancy. Is there any other comments? There being no further comments, we'll close public comment. Oh, is there?
I
didn't see you there.
My name's Brian Hellebuck. I'm at 5790 Middle Channel. I've been here about...
Hold it up. You gotta get it real close, Brian.
And I used to work in acoustics. I've been here about 12 years. Very sad what's going on. People think of me as mild-mannered, and I am. But as my boss told me many years ago when I worked at a small company, or a big company, he says, you know, Brian, you give me a hard time, but what I like about you is you tell me what I need to hear. The rest of the guys just are yes people and tell me what I want to hear. So I've been following this ferry situation, been doing my own research. I'm so sorry for the Brysons. They work very hard. I am amazed at everything they can do. I'm glad to hear there's some discussions about using available money. I did look, in the Beaver Island Ferry, in the last 2 years has received $26 million for ferry boats, for construction of docks, for repairs of docks. The Europa Ferry received $15 million. And the interesting thing about that was the township talked about how hard they worked to get that grant. So obviously we already have a ferry, and it would be best for that, for them to continue. And if it does work out, I would argue fiercely that they need to be highly compensated, because it's a difficult business. But to throw away $20 million, that's a lot of money not to utilize. Look at Algonac. We got a storage facility on the riverfront. Look at Clay Township. The big event is when we vote down Dollar General store. And then as far as somebody saying that the island is growing and is prospering, really that's kind of laughable. Anybody around here knows it's pretty flat. And so here's the issue. I like going to Kroger's, I like the Lumberjack. But the way the economic situation is nowadays, you can't really count on that. Big corporations, they could start to lose money. Next thing you know, they say, well, this Kroger's in Algonac, it's marginal. We're gonna move on. And I'm not saying reducing the ferry is gonna save it, but I don't know what other tools you guys have. You don't have anything. I mean, what else are you gonna do? You're gonna put a park on the North Channel. There's no new subdivisions going in, there's nothing. The other thing about the ferry rates, there's so much talk about, well, we're gonna cut the ferry rate in half or this or that. What people aren't figuring or forgetting is that this is a dynamic reaction. It's no different than when a freeway is built and suddenly a lot more people start using it and there's growth. So whatever the revenues for the ferry are now, if you cut them, say, significantly, the rates aren't gonna be, the income's not gonna be half, it's gonna go up. Because more people are gonna cross, and in my case, I'll probably spend more on the ferry. Because instead of saying, well, I'm gonna try to hold it to $10 today, you know, well, I only spent $12 today, because I went twice. And so, I just think that you look at Clay Township, we got this old sewer system, which really is old. It's below the water level. I was a civil engineer, I was a PE. I don't do a lot of that engineering, but it is, we got that problem. We got old water lines. We got this island, which is kind of underutilized. And for all those afraid of, like, taxes are gonna go up or this or that, it'll take a long time for this stuff to happen. If you snapped your finger right now, it wouldn't happen quickly. All right, thank you very much.
Mark Shave, 739 North Channel. First of all, my heart goes out to the Bryson family for their recent totally unexpected loss this week. My heart goes out to you.
And that's one of the things I want to make a comment. You know, I think it's a disgrace that nobody on the board had a moment of silence for Nancy. I mean, she has been on the island for how long? I thought that was respectful to do that. And there was no mention of it. That was my comment. Thank you, Mark.
We apologize. We really do. My comment is not on whether we're going to correct the issue of having a new ferry or second ferry or anything else like that in the near future. My comment is, at some point, somebody's got to take responsibility for what that site looks like. I have people coming over, that's the first thing they see and the last thing they see when they leave. They love the island, but that's what they remember, the unsightliness there. I've seen oil spills over there. There's now a roof of a building in that site. I thought we were supposed to be cleaning that up. How does a roof get over there, Paul? Where did it come from? How is that an improvement? How is that cleaning anything up? You know, there's no silt fence, and I've said that time and time again. I've built a lot of homes in my day. Whenever I was next to water, I had to have a silt fence for soil erosion, and I had to have a safety fence around a construction site. Anybody, fortunately, has not been hurt yet. It's just a matter of time. Somebody's gonna walk on those rolling steel pilings and injure themselves, and then where do the Brysons sit? Something's gotta be done with the unsightliness over there. Thank you.
People speak up. Not other than we'll close public comment.
So you wanna do a moment of silence for Nancy?
Okay. Let's do a moment.
The mic on.
Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. We have a letter of resignation by Brian Campbell. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Brian Campbell's resignation as a trustee on the township board.
Support. All right, roll call.
Tanya Hogan, yes. John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
Mark Burchard?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes. Moving on to new business, we have a resolution on the Special Assessment District Marks Highway Private Drive, 2013 to 2017. As I understand it, this is just a renewal,
Yeah,
correct?
hold it here. They can hear you.
Here. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, so this is a special assessment renewal, and it's resolution 2025-05 Special Assessment District, Mertz Highway Private Drive from 2013 to 2017. It's for a surplus that they paid.
It's not a renewal.
This one's not a renewal?
No, either one are. They are, surplus funds that are gonna be refunded to the residents.
Oh, that's right.
On the
That
summer
is
tax
money
bill.
going back to the people that are in that assessment district. That's what it is.
So one's for Mars Highway and the other one was aquatic,
Yeah.
spraying of the canals for, Anchor Bay and Farnsworth and Phillips.
People will be receiving money back if we pass a resolution to that effect.
Okay. So I will make a motion to approve resolution 2025-05 Special Assessment District Mertz Highway Private Drive from 2013 to 2017 for the special assessment surplus.
Then we combine it with 2025-06. Everybody will be receiving money back from that special assessment. Do we have a second? Second.
Anybody knows how much money it is?
No, I don't. That Bonnie might know it, but it's so much per individual. Yeah, yeah.
Did we do that?
No. You don't want to vote for both of them? You won't?
We have to do them separately, because we didn't amend the agenda.
All right, we'll put it on that way. On 1A, we have a motion.
I made a motion to accept 1A.
All right,
Jerry seconded.
roll call.
John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Mark Burchard? Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hogan? Yes.
Resolution 2025-06, Special Assessment District, Anchor Bay, Farnsworth Phillips Aquatic Management. That will be again a refund to people in that district. Do we have a resolution?
I will make a motion to accept this resolution as well. Resolution 2025-06, Special Assessment District, Anchor Bay Drive, Farnsworth Phillips Aquatic Management, 2018 to 2022 for the special assessment surplus.
Support.
All right, roll call.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Mark Burchard?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hogan? Yes. John DeBoyer?
Yes.
We go to 1C, DPW, rehire returning seasonal employees, Schultz and Campbell. We have a,
I will make a motion to rehire the DPW returning seasonal employees, T. Schultz and M. Campbell.
Support.
all right. Any discussion?
Are they part-time or?
Yes.
Yeah, they're just their
Seasonal.
seasonal help that comes back every year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1D, ZBA, Sherry Sibilia is presently an alternate on the ZBA. She would get requested to become a permanent board member. And so, we put it on the agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to elevate Sheriff Sapella from ZBA alternative to permanent board member.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, take a vote, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have Parks and Rec new hire, this is 1E, and coordinator to hire a B. Bradfield, Parks and Rec, Randy Bradfield to the Parks and Rec. I believe, Tanya, you interviewed him.
Jerry and I both did, yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah, anybody have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to hire Randy Bradfield as the new Parks and Rec coordinator.
Support.
Discussion?
What's the rate gonna be?
It will be the same stipend that, the previous coordinator had for now, until we can reassess. Because that's in the middle of the budget, we figured we would keep it the same, 4,100, I believe.
Because, I mean, I did most of the work right now.
Well, we'll have somebody take over.
Okay.
All right.
Is Brandy here?
Yes, she is, she's right there.
All right,
She's gonna do a whole bunch of other good things, right, Randy, I heard?
yeah.
Extra little events for me.
Yeah, she's very eager, so it's nice.
I just did music in the car.
All right, we have a motion?
Yep, we motioned and
Oh,
a second.
Okay, take a vote, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 1F, soil permit, removal permit for Elginak sand and gravel. Is there a motion here?
I'll make a motion to approve the soil permit for Elginak Sand and Gravel.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Well, I have a lot of discussion on this one, as everybody knows. I was basically kicked out of Gary's office, last week when I went in to talk to him about this. I just get this information today. So we'll start with question number 1. The approved engineered site plan for this property. I'm surprised, Mark, you being on the planning commission, you know that a site plan is necessary. He said, this is renewal only. I did provide the 2009 site plan for you. And that site plan, Gary, is a site plan of the industrial property, which he is now mining on the residential property. So he's not even mining on that site plan. He's mining in a different spot, am I correct?
That's why I gave you an aerial. So you have the most current picture.
The aerial is not a site plan. An aerial is just a Google Earth map with some writing on it. A site plan, from what I understand, and tell me if I'm wrong, Mark, when you have a site plan, it says what the property is to be used for, and it's to go to the planning commission for approval, is that correct?
That's what happened.
Okay, so what is happening on this property? Are we mining sand? Are we using it as a landfill? Because they are bringing in truck after truck of dirt and whatever's in this dirt and dumping it. I have videos of this.
Well, it's a commercial operation.
Well, it's not to be used as a landfill though, is it, Mark?
It can be.
Oh, really? We can just bring in and just dump whatever we want into a property? I was not aware of that. Okay.
Who's doing that? Where do you read that in the?
I have videos of it, and I can show you. There are,
That's besides the point. I'm looking at ordinances and the way it went down and why it went down.
well, the ordinance say there should be,
We are totally in.
okay, what about our dust control ordinance? Have you driven by there? The dust is outrageous.
Well, I would imagine that a certain amount of dust comes up every now and then because.
No, every
How was it
day.
when you went down there?
Every day, Mark, every day, there's so much dust. There should be sprinklers, there should be something on the,
Have you had a complaint, whether you filed a complaint that there's too much dust?
there are several complaints. The police don't even go out there anymore. The Klingenbergs have been so upset. And what are we doing? Are we storing trucks on this property? Are we farming? We have over 100 cows, or, excuse me, 100 pigs. We have,
That is also in compliance.
I don't know. There's off-site materials. I've gone by there. There's been off-site materials there every day. Gary says they were there on the day.
What do you consider off-site material?
Asphalt millings, limestone, does he mine
And
those?
you're going to have, you know.
That's a business. That's a business.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it does.
It's a business, Mark. I have ads that they put in Facebook that they're selling these things. That's not what this property's to be used for. They store fleets of trucks on this property and get money for that. I mean, this is a free-for-all, and what they're doing to this land is unbelievable. I have drone footage of what's going on here, and I am just appalled that you would allow all these ordinances to be broken.
You flew a drone over the property, Maureen?
I hired someone to, yes.
You hired someone?
I have drone footage.
What is Eagle and DNR
Did you
saying?
share that video with the board?
I have not.
Could you, I said?
DNR have passed it.
Could you share?
I could, it shows that they're mining right up against the neighbor's property, and it shows leachate from the neighbor's landfill going into this water. You can see all the nasty,
It shows what, I'm sorry?
it shows what looks like leachate to be going into this sandfill, into this lake where they pump the water out.
I'm sorry, what is leachate?
Leachate is from the landfill next door, it's pollution.
When you have something else right in that property, it's not the property owner's fault. It's the property owner's fault that has it leaching into the property.
If they come in within 75 feet, it is their fault, they're coming right on top of the property, Mark.
Well, says they're waiting 75 feet, but I know I've talked to an attorney for the neighboring property. He says they're 10 feet away.
Okay, so, I don't know whether that's true or it's not true, but there is a criteria checklist that any applicant for soil removal has to meet, has to be approved for. According to Gary, they meet all this criteria, is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, it is not correct. I went right through the checklist. Question number
is
one,
correct.
is there off-site materials? He says no. I have pictures of off-site materials. I have ads that they're selling off-site materials. So there's one that's wrong.
Can I
Is
ask?
there a site plan?
Yeah.
Is there a site plan? He says yes. Clearly he's admitted there's not a site plan. So, I mean, I can go question after question after question. You go ahead.
Can I just ask why you are going behind our building officials' back and double checking his work?
I'm not going behind his back.
Okay, in front of him?
I went straight to Gary before this meeting to ask him about these things.
Can I ask
He
why?
said, because I'm getting complaints from several neighbors. I do get phone calls.
Well, I think we all do.
Well, why didn't you go out and check then if you get calls?
I've been out to the site.
Well, not lately. If you were there today, I can show you a video today of the sand all over. And the neighbors of food storage and supply, their place is full of sand, all these places are full of sand. Now, how would you like to live next to that? And would you like to smell pigs from 15 feet from your dining room window?
Well, why didn't the zoning people 50 years ago zone it residential?
It is residential. There's 38 acres of residential, that's where they're mining and putting their cows and storing trucks. It is residential, it's still residential, and 31 acres are industrial. And they got done mining that, so that's, the old site plan is industrial. Neither one of these qualify for mining, it has to be over 40 acres. We did it at the time for high water, from what I understand, and we're not in that situation anymore, so I believe that this board should revisit it and see if this is okay. What is happening to the neighbors? I asked,
Do you have pictures and proof that this is happening right now? Yeah.
I asked many people, I asked everybody on the zoning, the ZBA and the planning commission to respond to me, and I got some answers back. I'll read them to you.
Wasn't that email sent to all of us?
No.
No?
They sent it to me, and I guess if you respond to an email, it's an Open Meetings Violation Act, correct? So
You send it to everybody.
I didn't send it to everybody because I didn't want to have an Open Meetings Violation Act. So this one is from Skip Torno. I have a couple of comments, observations. I was not on the planning commission when this was initially approved. I have followed the history the past few years. There have been numerous complaints from their neighbors regarding disregard by Algonac Sand and Gravel for the hours of operation requirements. Also complaints regarding the farm animals. There seems to be a total disregard of the terms of the agreement. I also question how this is being allowed to be done. That's somebody on your board with you, Mark. Wayne Torno. Margie responded and said, she's not familiar. And this is from Chris Daggy. I have highlighted passages in the ordinance that I found applicable. It is clear that the use of this property has changed. The applicant did not abide by the terms of the special use site plan. They have a special use.
It's not on the plan.
This would include trucking
Mr.
material.
Bryson, no more, or I'm gonna ask you to leave.
I was gonna say the same thing. You probably will, it's not on the planning commission. I don't even know why you asked him. He wasn't on the planning commission all the
Chris
time.
Daggy?
Well, you know what I did find out?
Chris Daggy is on.
I looked into the history, and I was told that, I looked into the history, and I was told by the chairwoman of the planning commission that this was brought in like 2021. And you did not pass upon it, Mr. Bryson took it directly to the board then. There was never a decision made by the planning commission. Now, when I read that, I thought, well, you should let your planners make that decision. But when I looked at what was passed by the board under Mr. Bryson, I didn't think it was all that out of line. And so I've said nothing, but now we're gonna go into the history in that. I'm gonna tell you that the history is it was taken away from the planning commission, the board passed it, and quite frankly, I've seen the site plan, but I don't think that it's correct in where the digging is taking place. I'll just tell you that. Because I went out to the site too. And it didn't look to me like the digging was taking place as what was depicted on the site plan. And frankly, I mean, if I was at the right property line, they were digging 10 feet away. But maybe I wasn't, right? So I'm not gonna make that assertion. I think I was, but I didn't see a survey. So, do I think we should pass on it? I think we should table it. We'll have an independent individual go take a look at it and report back to us at the next meeting. Allow them to keep working under the permit they're working on, and then just make sure we can clear this up.
So we don't have any faith in our building official to go out and do the inspection?
I'm
As his job calls for?
going to tell you something. I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
Yeah!
You know, when I ran for this job, I met a lot of people who complained about people getting targeted and other people getting away with things. And they made a lot of complaints against Mr. Barrow.
Has there been any merit to any of those?
Let me finish, all right? Let me finish. I did nothing. I figured this is a new board, we'll start over. Recently, Mr. Barrow, I talked to Mr. Barrow and I went and told him one day in the end of March that I wanted to fire him because of what happened on March 27th.
I don't think this is the time and place to
Well, I'm
do the
just,
job
you
that
asked
you
the
on our building
question.
official.
You asked the question, and now
I
I'm
don't think this
answering
is
it.
fair to our building official.
Okay, so we'll
So-
end it there, but the answer is yes.
Okay,
I
so-
don't
so-
have a lot of faith in him.
So is there anything on this compliance list that this site does not meet? According to our building official who says all his review is good.
John,
Now, we can go.
I think we need to get somebody that's gonna do an actual survey and pictures from that survey to make sure it's 75 feet. A building inspector isn't a surveyor. Hire a professional surveyor, get some pictures, and make sure that it's within 75 feet. Gary, am I okay with that?
There's actually a fence that was pushed over by the landfill operator. That part of that fence is still in place. And that is where the fence, where the property line is, and that's where that measurement was made from. And if I measured from that line, we're well past 75 feet. I don't know where they were measuring from being 10 feet away. That's utterly ridiculous.
Well, that's ridiculous. I was standing on the edge of the landfill, and 10 feet away, there's a drop off. Now, was I standing on the property line? I don't know, I already said that. You should verify.
Did you find any,
Just send somebody out, get it done.
survey or markers there?
No, there's no survey markers, not at this juncture at all, Mark, but there was a fence line. And that fence line, part of it is still over along the property line in question between one industrial site and another. That's the only place that we're talking about any type of discrepancy is between two industrial properties. So, you know, everywhere else around this site, all the other areas between residential properties, there is no question that this is well and far and away from any of those areas. The only question is between one industrial property and another.
One's
And I'll
residential,
add
one's
that this
industrial.
landfill, which is also having no site plan, we've been trying to get them to comply with the site plan to get an approval through the planning commission, and that has fallen through deaf ears by our township supervisor, and he hasn't made one move towards getting them into compliance, yet they have been there, and they're contradicting me and not knowing how to read a tape measure and not knowing where a fence line is. It's literally
Let me just
ridiculous.
say, Eagle's been out there.
There's no
it's up to
site
them.
plan. There's no site plan, that's where we start. There's no site plan. I can play 10
Even with the
minutes right.
site plan, Cory, even with a site plan, it's not gonna show where that line is.
We have to see a reclamation, we have to see what's the use of this property. This property is being used for all sorts of things, Gary, that are, it shouldn't be.
And in my answer on your
Yeah,
list
which
of
you gave to me at
things,
the time of the meeting, thank you.
well, you got it.
Well, that's nothing new. That happens every meeting.
Well, do you wanna listen to your replies, Mark, at the last meeting about this? Cause I'd be happy to put this on the mic.
I think it's immaterial. Basically, if he meets the compliance list, we should approve, and if he doesn't, we don't approve.
I
We don't
agree.
need to go off into the other tangents.
Well, and I believe.
I agree, if
compliance
it does, it
checklist
does, but if we don't
incorrect
know whether
years.
it does, we should table it.
If I'm gonna pay a building official to represent our township to do this job, and then when he comes with his information to us, and I go, no, I don't believe you, that's ridiculous.
You know what, John? You
No, I
know
don't.
what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Really?
Nobody's got any faith in the manager, the supervisor.
Like I said, we have problems, we'll address it at the next meeting, everyone's welcome.
Wow.
This is not a site plan, these answers are, you know, they're not accurate, they're not accurate. I mean, I've been there, it's very simple. Off-site materials have been there, and, you know, I'm reading what other people on the planning commission have said. You guys don't, I mean, since the use of this property has changed, it is my opinion on the planning commission that the process for approval should start over with the planning commission. The previous approval, is, is wrong because of the high
We have
water.
a motion to approve, right? You have a second?
Or is it,
Huh?
yeah, I second it.
Okay, so
What is it, table?
we'll do a roll call
No,
vote, or
made a
we'll
motion
table
to
it?
accept it.
I think we have to vote on it.
Do a roll call vote.
Okay, Mark Burchard? Paul Cassidy?
No.
Jerry Galka?
Yes.
We can't hear what's going
Yes.
on.
He said yes.
John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Maureen Maury?
No.
Pass.
Was it, I'm sorry, was it 4-2? I missed the vote.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now we don't need to find out if our ordinance are being followed or not, and so everybody just know you can do whatever you want.
Let's go to the next,
It's true. I have proof.
okay.
I find out about that is both the previous lawyers, current lawyers, previous planners, all said that he shouldn't be doing that.
1G, soil removal permit,
I mentioned that, but I saw it in print. They all recommended that approval.
I'll make a motion to approve soil removal permit for Silent Acres Farm.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Do we have a site plan for this property?
I don't think we do. I mean, nobody's complaining, you know.
Nobody
Horvath
has
does-
complained. No one
Nobody
came here.
complains, the Horvath does a great job. I know they're not doing a million things on their property. And,
Yeah, okay.
they should have a site plan too.
All right. Give them all.
Should we go into a roll call?
Roll call.
Okay, roll call, Jerry Galka,
Yes.
Tanya Hogan, yes. John DeBoyer,
Yes.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
Mark Bouchard,
Yes.
Paul Cassidy.
Yes. Move on to Township Park splash pad pump replacement, $4,591.90. Under general line item 208-000-934.00. This is to replace the township splash pad pump. I know that I talked with with Lance.
Speak closer to the mic.
I've talked with Lance about this. He said he could go get that, replacement pump tomorrow. He should have it up and running shortly.
I'm looking to purchase 2 pumps, and I want to clean up some scuttlebutt on social media that said that, one, we did not winterize the pumps correctly, which is totally fake, false. I've been here 35 years, and I've been here since that whole thing was put in. Everything's been winterized correctly. The problem being with the pumps is the rebuild kits for the impellers for the pumps themselves are no longer available for it.
How old are those pumps?
That pad's been up and running for about 13 years. And problem being, Hayward doesn't make parts for that pump anymore. So we had to go back to the splash pad's designer, to their engineers, to make sure that the pumps that we were getting, which are now variable speed pumps, because that's all I can get, would operate this whole pad. There's a filter pump and a feature pump. And it has to operate correctly, or otherwise the pumps would be useless at that point in time, especially for the cost. So it took them over 2.5 months to get back to us from their engineers to make sure these pumps would work, or otherwise this would have been done a whole lot earlier than what it was. But my hands were tied until we heard from those people in order to order this stuff. So,
Kind of like it was warming up anyway.
Well, and once he found out, he had his quotes in and everything was in, so it could have been done in time if we had a quorum at the last meeting.
yes,
Well, I
and
think what happened, it was in the fall, right? Didn't you know in the fall?
know about what in the fall.
Did you know, when did you know they were bad?
I knew this spring when we went to rebuild the pumps that I couldn't get
Gotcha,
the parts.
okay. That's what was on social media. They said you knew in the fall, but that's not correct.
No, that's, and here again, the lady I talked to was Kelly Nader. She did call me on the phone, and I told her step by step of everything that was going on, what took so long, just to make sure that everything was correct. Then everything got twisted on social media, said I didn't winterize them correctly, there was issues why I didn't order them earlier. It's all malarkey, it's bullshit.
Thank you very much.
So, these 2 pumps that you want to order both will go into service together?
Yes.
Does that leave you with any backup pumps if these fail?
That does not leave me any backup pumps, but at least the parts for these pumps will be available.
Oh, okay, and you're confident with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How long before we get it in?
I can pick them up tomorrow.
Oh, okay, good. I was gonna run a bus to take these people down there with me.
No, they're right on Hall Road. We deal with windsurf and sail. She gave us the same price that I can order them online with. And that's where I get my parts from because she's been so great with us. There's been no issue with her at all. Not a problem.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the purchase of the splash pad pump replacements in the amount of $4,591.90 coming from GL line 208-000-93400.
All right, roll call.
Yes. John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Mark Richard?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Oh. I'm like, you're nothing. Jerry Golka?
Yes.
I'm like, I couldn't even carry on.
Okay, we'll go to one I, St. Clair County Road Commission contracts. These are outstanding contracts that are waiting to be paid. There are contracts waiting to be paid. A replacement on a culvert on Nook Road, $4,425. Line item 101-446-971. And on St. John's outlet pipe replacement, $3,100. Line item 101-466-97100.
I'll make a motion to approve the St. Clair County Road Commission culverts, $4,425, account number 971, $3,100 the outlet pipe. Again at 971, 446, 971.
I'll second.
Do a roll call?
Just one question, quick
Yeah.
question. It's my fault, I didn't look it up, but 101-446, what is that line item, Jerry? We know?
I don't have it handy.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was just curious, I should have looked it up myself. No, I was just curious.
Well, I sent you an email today, they ask any questions that you have.
Okay, I didn't see that.
You know, and I would
I
have
got
the
the budget.
information.
I didn't see that.
We did get,
We
we
have
were
a-
able to use match money, so we're only paying for half of the culverts with this. The county's paying for the other half, so this is, these prices are the half that we pay. But I just wanna make that known that we are using match money from the county to pay for the other half.
Roll call vote?
John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Mark Richard? Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hogan? Yes.
1J, Michigan Township Association 2025-2026 annual dues, $7,538 divided between the departments.
Make a motion to Michigan Township Association 25-26 annual dues of $7,538 divided between departments.
I'll second.
Do a roll call?
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Mark Richard? Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hogan? Yes. John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Go to 1K dangerous building, we have demolition bids here that were given to us today. Do you still have those?
I gave them in front of you.
Hey, John, 101-446-971 is capital outlay county roads.
Okay, thank you.
That's those bids here. There is one bid by Eagle One Contracting. This bid is to obtain disconnect letters from gas, electric, etc., water shut off, secure demolition permit from Clay. Once the requirements above are completed, they will tear down the boathouse at 9081 Anchor Bay Drive. And their bid price is $19,250. Huh?
Was there two?
No, this one.
There should have been. What's in this other envelope you have there?
So the only thing that I want to look at was removing all docks and piles.
No, what's in this other envelope?
No, that's.
Do they remove the pile?
That's the only one I have.
And it's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda? There's no other business in that package. Do you know there's another bid?
I'm pretty sure there was two we were put together. Two manila envelopes. Do you see another manila envelope?
Maybe there's another one.
I could be
Hold on.
mistaken.
Oh, here we go, yep. You see, that one was my son in his company. Here's construction, A to Z construction. A to Z construction, total cost $65,000.
So who did COVID-19?
Well, this second one claims there's a certified diver in the water. Certified driver in the water can secure all debris and underwater hazards, and that they've been removed. Is there any motion on these?
Well, that one permit for 19,000, it does say, that's what I wanted to look at, was the docks and piers being removed. So as long as they cut them off at the bottom, that's probably what they put a diver in. Sometimes they do that. Somebody else out here knows how that is done.
Says the site will be completely clean.
Bonded and insured?
Well, they're gonna have to be, or they won't be allowed to do it.
I would agree.
So I make a motion to hire, Eagle One Contracting to, remove the boathouse, provided they're bonded and insured, for $19,200.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, no.
Well, we're not quite understanding here, all, because you guys are mumbling, we can't hear you.
If it's a matter you can't hear, I'll restate it. There's two bids to remove a boathouse.
Whose boathouse is it?
Well, it's a boathouse located at
It's at Deckers. Deckers Lane.
At Deckers, it is at
Why is
Deckers.
that being done?
It is at Deckers.
9081 Anchor Bay Drive, Boathouse.
And why are we bidding it?
Exactly. So was this recommended by the ZBA to prevent?
No, by the attorneys, and they put it in a judgment that we would collect the money from the boathouse owner. It costs us nothing.
Oh, that's an important point.
Well, I assume you knew that, but. Yeah.
Yeah, that changes everything.
Well,
The tax bill?
Yeah, I believe I believe the town.
It's gonna take 3 years to get your money. Yeah.
I need a shed tore down.
Okay, well.
Why do you need it torn down with it? In compliance,
So I believe how it works is the township pays for it, and then the owner sets up a plan to pay it back, and if they don't pay it back within the parameters of the agreement, we add it to their tax bill. I don't.
Really, yeah. I never known the township would get the bill for any of those. And it was the
well, I
property.
made a
they
motion,
don't pay it.
I think it was second.
Some property.
Do a roll call vote?
All right, John DeBoyer,
No.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
Mark Burchard,
Yes.
Paul Cassidy.
Yes.
Jerry Golka,
Yes.
Tanya Hogan, yes.
All right, the next issue is 1L, requesting legal action on 7314 Ed Lane. Timeline and photos for 7314 timeline. Ed Lane has been on display. And Roman has been trying to convince the owner to clean it up. If you want to move forward.
What's that?
Our code enforcer has been working with them to try and get them to clean it up, and they have not been complying with the timeline that we have set. So now we need to move forward because we're hitting ahead with them where the work is not getting done that needs to be done because they're in violation of
Light.
light.
Do we have a motion?
So are we basically taking the court time?
I make a motion requesting legal action on 7314 Edlin Road. With timeline and photos uploaded.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Take a roll call vote.
Mark Richard?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes.
Jerry Golka?
Yes.
Tanya Hoban? Yes. John DeBoyer?
Yes.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Okay, on 1M, it's the old offshore Old Cloud fireworks display, July 15th. Apparently, we need to approve them having their fireworks at the Old Club. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Approve the fireworks display at the Barracks on July 5th.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Next one is 1N, discussion and action on the 2025 capital improvement bond notice of intent to publish and notice to be published by Clay Township Capital Improvement Bonds in order to sell those bonds. The notice will simply state a maximum number. It could put, and I think it's 7.5 million, but it could be $1. Doesn't matter what it is. But Mr. Roach is here, and would you want to explain this to the public, please?
Sure. Sutsine and Associates. I've worked on all your bond issues going back probably, 7, 8 years now. So the notice of intent is a legal requirement in order to issue the capital improvement bonds for the water and sewer projects. We looked at the project costs provided by the engineering firm, looked at the grant monies that are available, and we looked at cash contributions coming in from either a combination of general fund or water and sewer funds. Excuse me. So the amount is a not to exceed amount, can't exceed 7.5 million. We are in the process right now of working on different, how should we say, alternatives for the board to review. We could put more cash in and potentially reduce the amount of the bond. We are looking at whether or not we want to pay off the bonds over a 20, 25, or 30-year period. To the extent that we go from, say, a 20-year to a 30-year, the payment obviously will be lower, just like on a 20 or 30-year mortgage, but you're going to be paying that interest for a longer period of time. So we're trying to give ourselves the maximum flexibility of determining how much money the township wants to pull out of the general fund or the water fund to put towards these projects. We don't want to completely deplete the cash reserves. Township has a AA rating, so we don't want to go too much cash being used from the general fund. And as we're aware, obviously you don't want to take all the cash out of your water fund and reduce that, because if emergencies happen, you need cash to fall back on, because you can't get in the market very quickly and try to borrow money if there's an emergency. So we're going to be working on preparing alternatives as to how much cash is going to come in from a combination of general fund or water and sewer fund towards the project. But by publishing the notice of intent, it starts that clock, because bids, construction bids have been taken. We want to be able to get the process rolling as soon as possible. And even best case scenario, we're looking at not having bonds, whether it's 7.5 million or 5 million, until sometime late or mid to late August. To also, just so you know, this also allows the township to utilize cash reserves if they need to in order to start construction or let bids, and they'll be able to reimburse themselves out of the bond proceeds. And once again, that's a legal requirement. So we're trying to look at all the options, once again, 20-year, 25, 30, in order to minimize the rate increase. We looked at capital improvement bonds because of the township's strong rating, and the water and sewer funds are not in great strength right now. And if I had to go to the market, we'd have a little harder time selling those bonds without getting rates approved really prior to selling the bonds. So by selling capital improvement bonds, it gives us the flexibility of using the township's general fund, but then we're going to allocate the debt service to the water and sewer, and they will carry their own debt loads. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Thank you.
Bill, I've got a couple questions.
Sure.
So these are general obligation bonds?
Correct.
Correct?
Yep.
And is it the full faith and credit of the township?
It's a limited tax full faith and credit, correct.
Okay, so is that the reason we look at general obligations over, say, revenue bonds?
We looked at revenue bonds as an option, but once again, the water and sewer funds have been operating at a deficit. So in order to go out and sell revenue bonds, we would really have to have rates and charges put in place prior to selling the bonds, which would put us off a little bit, quite a bit on the timing.
I thought our fund balance in water was over $5 million.
Well, the cash, I'm talking about your operating. Not your cash balance, but your operating revenues.
You showed operating in the deficit?
Yeah, and it's been a while since I put those numbers together, so I don't remember. Yeah, your cash balance is great, but on an annual operating basis, you've got to be able to show covering debt service a minimum of 1.25 times. So additionally, if we sold revenue bonds, you still have a 45-day notice of intent requirement, and that would also require us to sell two different series of bonds, a water bond and a sewer bond. So there would be two different transactions that would have to be completed if we utilize revenues. But by selling capital improvement bonds with your strong credit rating, it allows us to get in the market earlier, and then you can still allocate that debt service between the water system and the sewer system so that they're carrying their own weight. And it's not uncommon. So it's a lot easier and cleaner for us and you to execute the transaction as opposed to breaking it into two different series of a water and a sewer rev.
So we can sell the bonds, but then it's still at the local level broke up between water
Correct.
and sewer?
Yep. Everything will be accounted for separately.
Gotcha.
I've got everything broken out in separate series. There's one major account, and then there's sub-accounts for the water and sewer, and then that'll be allocated to those enterprise funds to pick up the debt service. And then when you're looking at the rates and charges, you're going to want to look in at that'll be baked in as well, the coverage test.
Because I don't want to speak for the whole board, but I believe it was our intent to not use tax dollars to pay for the.
That is correct. Nope.
Okay, thank you. One other question, Bill, real quick. Is there any rate advantage between the general obligation and the revenue bonds?
Yes.
General obligation's a better rate?
General obligation's a better rate.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you with any specific certainty where, if we sold revenue bonds right now, where your rating would be. It might come in at BBB or A- at best. I'm really thinking BBB plus. So your interest cost would be higher because of the lower rating. But the township has a AA rating.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. We have a resolution on whether or not to publish the resolution capital improvement bond in the paper. It'll be in the Voice paper.
I'll make a motion to go forward with the capital improvement bond notice of intent to publish notice in Clay Township for 2025 capital improvement bond.
certainly can't hear it.
Do you have a second? I'll second it. Roll call vote.
Discussion?
You can have discussion, sure. I hope he had given us enough information.
I just got a quick question. So when I do the math,
John, I think your numbers are wrong.
well, you haven't even heard my numbers.
You said 5 million a couple times.
No. Oh. So I'm doing the quick math, between water and sewer on the projects, it looks like we've got, $10,385 total cost less. That includes our grants credit, okay? $6,191,500. I'm sorry, I lost my. Long story short, we're going to have to bond or come up with approximately $3.2 million. Is that correct? Is that where we're at?
I think if we do that, we're stretching our account too far.
John?
Listen to the guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I could,
Yeah, go ahead.
that's part of what I'm gonna be working on.
You're gonna
Come
break it
back
down
to
for
the
us?
township to show you, let's say we take 100% of your cash from general fund, water fund, and put it into the transaction.
Yes.
How much do we borrow? I'm gonna show you all those options. 100% cash, say 75, 50%, 25. So, and then different debt amortization schedules, so you can have an idea what that impact that's gonna have on your reserves and on your annual debt service.
Okay, that's all I was asking
Yep.
for, plan was for the balance, that's all.
Yep, I'll be coming back with that information
Okay,
for
good,
you.
thank you, Bill.
So we're not really making a decision on what we're borrowing, just
No,
to give
we're
us
just
a.
allowing the.
Publish.
Just getting the
public
clock
to know.
started.
No, we're making it.
And we stuff the water one.
We're making it approve the week on, so we go break out.
Well, the recommendation from Bill and from Bill or Campfield was to publish 7.5, and then if we borrow.
Yeah, there's no breakout required as part of the notice of intent.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Seven, but that's the max, correct?
Correct. And that already assumes 3 million cash going into the deal from either general fund or water and sewer
So
fund.
if we say we need more, that's too late. We've already committed.
Well, we'd have to go back and republish.
Right, okay.
Jerry made a motion, and we have a second.
Okay, take a roll call.
Okay, John DeBoyer,
Could you restate the motion?
I think the motion was to publish in the paper a notice of intent to raise capital improvement bonds and to sell them. That's generally what's in it.
Yes.
You should have gotten a copy of that. I put a copy in your box.
Yes.
Okay.
is that your vote, John? Mark Richard,
Yes.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
Paul Cassidy.
Yes.
Jerry Golka.
Yes.
Tanya Hogan, yes.
Okay, we have 1P, approved planning commission to open ordinary accessory structures, section 3.01 for discussion. Art, can you fill us in a little bit on that?
Right, so this is pretty straightforward. It's going back to the planning commission for review. Accessory structures, according to the ZBA, they get a lot of requests and on the site plan to raise it from the 15-foot minimum maximum, let's say, up to either 16 or 17 feet.
We really can't hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. So this is for accessory structures. They're currently at 15 feet, and the ZBA is getting a lot of requests for it to go higher, either 16 or 17 feet. To me, it makes sense, and I think Gary, he's okay with it as well. So it's gonna go back to the planning commission, and we'll decide whether it's gonna be 16 or 17 feet. Oh, and by the way, we don't have a planning commission on the 28th.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
All right, any discussion?
So we're just approving the planning commission to open this up?
Yeah, open it up, right.
I'll make a motion to approve the planning commission to open the ordinance accessory structure section 3.01 for discussion.
Support.
Any further discussion?
Yeah,
I couldn't hear you, I couldn't hear you, Mark, there was some interruption there. What is this, accessory structure?
Accessory structure is a shed or a garage or anything like that, that's not attached to the home, the residence.
Okay.
Okay? So, a lot of times people want to make it higher so they can have storage. You can imagine that you've got 15 feet height already, and that's the top, that's only leaving you anywhere between 6 and 7 feet for headroom up there. So you want to raise it up another foot.
Okay, I understand. Thanks, Mike.
Is that right by you?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
You're keeping it down.
We'll take a vote on that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll go to my favorite subject, the OHM contract. I know that woman keeps coming up, meeting after meeting, telling us that she gave us her questions. She gave us her questions today. The same questions she submitted over and over and over again with a FOIA that we did in fact prepare answers for, and she refused to come in and pay for the FOIA, which was not much money.
She did.
So now today is her chance, and she's bringing up the OHM contract. I know John's interested, I'll tell you.
How do you know I'm interested?
I can answer number 5 right now on why the unsigned contract was posted on the agenda and not the signed contract. And that's because I did not have a signed contract, I only had an unsigned contract to post for that agenda item.
Okay,
I
so
did
I'll
not
ask that
see a signed
question.
contract.
So we got in our board packet on March 6th, we got a copy of the contract with OHM St. Clay Township for approval. And the contract that was in the board packet was unsigned.
Well, there was a signed copy. It wasn't in the packet.
I did not have a signed copy.
So
I was only given.
why was the contract in our board packet and for public viewing unsigned on March 6th when the contract had been signed on December 30th?
That's a complete contract other than the signature of signing. That contract is the exact contract that was signed.
I understand.
Didn't have the signature on it, John.
I understand that.
But
The question-
it was an
But the
oversight by
question
someone.
is, it was put in the board packet 90 days later.
Well, it was in it.
It was an unsigned contract.
John, it's been signed. You can look at it
I
anytime you
understand
want.
that. So I felt that
What's
was a
the
little
point?
misleading to the board and to the public at the time.
Well, you can have whatever opinion you want.
You know, I found it curious that between December 30th and March 6th, we had 4 board meetings. There wasn't an agenda item, a discussion, no mention of any of this. And then suddenly, we have a special meeting on March 6th at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the same time period that Mrs. Murtis's FOIA is about to reveal that this was signed on December 30th, and lo and behold, here it is.
Well, that's
I find that perfect timing.
I think it's quite a recitation of the facts as you remember them. That's fine.
Oh, so we should all be forgetful and just let it go?
Well,
Is this called transparency? So I got another question. So there, in that same packet on March 6th, there was a list of 10 engineers that RFPs were sent out to, we were told. When were those RFPs sent out?
They were sent out, what, the 23rd of December?
Well, they were emailed and also mailed.
Okay.
So that everyone was emailed. So let me just explain. So
No, we're not gonna muddy the waters here. So a township citizen FOIA'd that information, and the reply back to the township citizen was that those RFPs did not exist.
Well, that was a mistake then, wasn't it?
I don't know, was it?
I don't know if that's what your facts are.
So let me see, we have an oversight on the contract signature?
According to your facts.
No,
Go
you just
ahead.
told me that.
Go ahead.
You just told me that.
That's not correct. But what happened was,
Prove it.
the board proved, now this gentleman is calling me a drunken and alcoholic, he's a little bit out of line over here.
You know what?
3 beers?
Yes, please.
It's okay, Paul.
No.
3 beers. So let me explain.
Yeah.
let me explain, all right.
No, you've been helping out the whole meeting. Get the taser.
I think
I haven't been here the whole meeting.
Well, long
I
enough.
think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think you'll be
You
fine.
can leave.
On
Needs
December-
company.
On December 20th, it's okay, on December 20th, we had a special meeting. The board approved to pay $150,000 for a feasibility study. The board approved it. Okay, we sent out 10 bids, and these people had been offered to bid prior by HIDA, so they were familiar with the project.
How were those bids, how were those RFPs sent? Were they emailed or mailed?
Both,
Both?
both.
So,
I have all the emails if
okay,
you wanna see
could
them.
you forward those emails to me?
I
You
would be
could have
happy
had them
to.
earlier if you'd asked.
I put them in your box, John.
And,
I put them in your box, John.
okay,
They're in your box.
no, I think
At
I've
the
got,
office.
I've got them right here, but that doesn't mean anything to me. I would like the emails forwarded to me.
Well, those are the
No,
emails, I
no,
printed
no,
them
no, I
out.
want the emails
All
forwarded
right,
to me.
I can forward, you mean
You know
by
what,
email?
John?
I can do
No,
that.
what?
I can do it right now. But anyway, so the board approved to spend $150,000 on this feasibility study. We sent out to 10, only one person replied, which was OHM.
Well, and I can
Now,
tell
let me
you,
finish my train of
Oh,
thought so
oh,
everybody
let me
can
stop you right there.
understand.
No, don't stop
Let me
her.
finish.
was it,
So,
so you told me.
may I finish? May I finish, John?
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna start over. We had a meeting on December 20th. We sent out 10. The board approved to spend $150,000. We sent out 10. The only person we got back from was OHM. So really, you know, that was, we didn't even think, well, what do we need to go back to the board for approval for? You know, I mean, I don't know if Paul or I didn't think of it. That we agreed to spend the $150,000, and there's no one else willing to do it. It had to be signed before December 1st, or before January 1st, in order to use the ARPA funds. If we waited until after January, those funds were not eligible. There had to be a committed contract, and that is the reason why Paul signed it, in my belief.
So are you telling me that there's an RFP that was sent to and agreed to with OHM in Clay Township?
It's in your box, yeah, there
You're
was.
telling me there is? Okay.
I said there's an
So-
RFP
so
that
wait,
You know what?
No, 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 no.
Let him finish.
I put it in your box.
So is OHM currently operating under the RFP between OHM and Clay Township? That's my question.
I don't know that they've done any work recently.
There's a bill.
but
They have.
We've got a
they
bill
did
from
before.
2000.
But they did that work, yes.
So my question is, the RFP is between Clay and OHM? Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct. Okay. Why did you send out the RFPs as opposed to our clerk?
I don't know.
I think, I would answer that. Maureen knew the urgency of getting it out. Our clerk had just started work, and it was gonna get done if Maureen did it.
Okay.
I
Took
kind
it
of
upon
find it a
herself
little
to do it.
insulting that you guys, you didn't even give me a chance. I've never seen the RFP. I've never even had a chance to handle it because I've never
It was
seen it.
just urgent, Tanya.
But you are, that is so insulting to say that I can't handle something for this township, that these people voted me in to do this job, and you're saying I can't handle urgent business? That is just what you said.
We don't think
No,
you
that's what
can
I
handle
said.
it. I was just trying to
Didn't
help.
wanna
It
burden
was
you.
urgent, that's all. You had a
Well,
lot
it's
on
my
your
job
plate.
to be burdened.
You had a lot on your plate.
I
And it was
understand,
holiday.
but give me a chance.
It was
To
holiday.
do a good job at this. Give me the chance, because now all these people are upset, and frankly, I'm upset too, because I never seen an RFP for this. And you guys are trying, you know, this is just ridiculous. You didn't even give me a chance, and you're saying that I was too busy? I've never saw it, I never got the chance, I never even got the chance to show the people.
Should've
that
My
I
done the
point
did.
is the board approved to spend
Did you vote to approve?
$150,000 on it.
No, I voted no.
Of the fund? Oh, no, you didn't vote at all.
No,
You and Mr. DeMoyer didn't vote at all.
Abstained,
That's
which
right.
is
Then
illegal.
you
if I-
only do the
But
proposal.
there was
If I
not a vote on
decide-
the OHM.
But if I
Okay,
decide that
okay, I
I
would
would
just
agree with
like to
something.
address Clerk Hogan. You are doing a remarkable job coming into this township and putting up with everything that you see. You're doing a remarkable job. Unfortunately, you have people in the mix that are trying to undercut you every time you try to do something. And I see that all the time, okay? And I'm not blind. You just keep on doing what you're doing and lock everybody out. Thank you.
So this was ARPA money that was spent for this feasibility study.
Correct, and I would
Did-
like to say.
Excuse
that-
me, can I finish?
Go ahead.
So, did we meet the 45-day advertisement period per ARPA rules for this contract?
Nope.
There was,
Did we?
there wasn't 45.
You know the answer, did we?
Could you answer for me, Mr.
Did you?
Supervisor?
Did we?
Answer for me, please.
I'm not too worried about the payment of the money.
Did we?
Answer
Did we
it.
advertise per ARPA rules?
Answer them.
Did we?
I don't know, you have to tell me the rule.
Oh,
You
boy.
told me once before, we broke the law, I asked you what law.
Could you
I'm
answer
not-
my question?
I'm not telling you.
No, it's a secret. I'll let you Like everything else on this board, it's a big secret.
Oh, only you.
So Maureen, on our March 6th meeting, I'm sorry, our March 10th meeting, when this all blew up, you made the comment that it's been approved, we had legal look at it, so let's just move forward. First off, I wanna know who is we? Who's we? We had legal look at it, who was we?
I didn't say we had legal look at it.
Hey, you wanna look at the tape?
I don't,
Did you have legal look at it?
did we, Paul? I don't know.
I don't think.
You're all right. I think Alex looked at it, I don't know.
So Mr. Addis,
Here, Mr. Addis, can you answer that question?
did Mr. Addis review it, Maureen?
I don't recall,
Well, you said it.
All I know is, I was told we didn't do anything illegal.
Who told you that?
I know when I talked to you April 27th, when I talked to the MTA, my CP firm.
I know it was the end of April, about April 27th or so, I talked to the MTA, CPA accountants. I'm going over, making sure things are done right on that. And I went over this with them, and they said we did nothing wrong on that.
So MTA said that the ARPA requirement to advertise bid for 45 days is null and void.
There was no, it was done in September.
What was done in September?
When was those bids put out?
The bid for this project was not put out in September.
December.
We approved it March 6th, 2025.
So, John, now that you've had your inquiry, tell us that $151,000 that we voted to spend, should we just have not spent it and,
Yeah, we
throw
should
the money
have
away?
spent it on the water department's
Okay, this is another thing the CPA firm said, okay? That money should have not been put in a water fund.
Why?
It was illegal. It was illegal.
Illegal taking it.
Because not everybody in this township has water and sewer. Okay, and ARPA funds, and ARPA, for a feasibility study, yes, to see if it's needed or not.
That we
I
voted
went over
down?
all this with the
Show me
board.
that, Jerry? Could you
Yeah,
show me that?
I'll give you the phone number of the accountant that
Do you have
the
it in
CPA
writing?
and MTA said that.
And you got that as
Yes.
a legal opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir, we can't take questions.
Could you give me a copy of that, Jerry? I'd love to see it.
Probably not.
You know, Tom, you don't know what's going on necessarily over here on the island, but there are some concerns. There's definitely some concerns. For example, if you're Patty Kernahan and your husband had a heart attack at 1 a.m. and the ferry didn't answer the 911 calls for 23 times, and your husband waited and died on the floor, we have some concerns. I mean, overall, Bryson's do a great job, but there are some safety concerns. There are some affordable concerns, there are some reliability concerns that many people have. And this group can say it was voted down, but that is because people don't wanna pay for it. They don't wanna pay in their taxes, that's true. But if you're already paying gas taxes and the money is sitting there, like Brian talked about, the 15 million and the 20 million, we can't get our hands on it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make things better. It's not anything against the Brysons, they do a great job. They want the money, they know they need the money. If you're riding across on the ferry today, which you probably get a ticket for, which I argue I never get tickets, but you all guys do. But you can see that things are rusting out, there's problems. They know that they could use the money. That's why they're sitting in meetings with Blue Water. Because they want the money, they need the money. We're trying to help.
Some we're talking about OHM.
When we look at, let's look at 2017. I watched some news clips when the dock disintegrated and they tried to fix it themselves and the power line went down. This room that showed on News 4, WXYZ, standing room, everyone demanding that something be done. Something be done about the ferry because it's so dangerous.
Some we're talking about
But
OHM.
now it's 5 years later and nobody cares.
You guys are
Nobody
the
cares.
only ones that think
This
that.
is
You should have
about
said that when you
people.
ran for public office.
Are you done?
No,
This is about
So
OHM.
if this is such a big deal, why such the secrecy and lack of transparency?
Thank you.
You don't like the answer,
You answered
but
my
we
question
answered them all.
6 months later. We brought this up.
And you know what? Did we properly spend the money? No. Some people are gonna say no.
Well, listen, I'll just let you know that OHM, as you probably are well aware of, was doing work the first week of January, way before this township board ever approved a contract with them.
They did work upon my signature, waiting for us to ratify it, which we did ratify.
There you go. What about
So
the
you have the
public?
authority to
This ain't your township.
without the township board's
Let me
approval.
tell you something. This was an urgency.
What was the urgency?
In a couple of days, we lose the money, Don.
Oh,
$150,000.
maybe we have to leave it in the water department?
No, you can't. leave it in the water. That would be illegal.
Need it now, don't we?
It all started, John. It all
not been put in restricted funds.
It all started, John, when your prior board said there's $238,000, and we'll just put it into the water fund and park it there, and then the next board can decide how to
That was
spend it.
illegal also.
And when we did that, all of a sudden.
That's a false statement.
No, it isn't.
Our treasurer put that in, Christy Hilton put that in the water fund, the ARPA money into the water fund. That statement that was made by Mr. Bryson was after the fact.
He said the new board could do what
He
they
said
wanted
it
with
there,
it.
at the meeting.
I don't care what he said, that money was
Well, the
already
CPA
allotted.
said that we could
money was
move it
already
because
allotted.
people were misled
ARPA
from
money
the
should
start.
have not been in a restricted
No, that
fund.
is not accurate.
ARPA money should not have been in a restricted fund, John.
That's false.
That is not false.
Look at what are we gonna do here? We got a motion? Is all this coming down to a motion? Or we're just here to argue?
We're discussing this.
No, we're not discussing. We're not arguing.
We're not?
John, I want to tell you something, John. You were on the board when the similar situation happened, and I can pull it up and show you. On May of 2023, Supervisor Bryson authorized PCE to spend almost $10,000 on the algae wheel plant. We did not approve that because we had nowhere to take the money from, because we promised the people of the mainland that we wouldn't take it from the general fund or from their money. So that was tabled. We had another meeting, and Christie said, let's take it from the ARP fund.
Yes, and that's right.
So they already did the work, we already got the bill, same thing as this, only we haven't spent the money. Same scenario, only he didn't get 10 bids, okay?
Neither did
He
you.
just gave it to PCE, well, we gave 10 people the opportunity to bid, and they denied that opportunity.
It was a
And
feasibility.
they also
Well, I'll tell
used that money, used the ARPA funds for here on a bill that was already spent, and you voted yes on it, and there was no scruple from anybody. It was the same scenario, only they didn't even put out 10 bids like we did.
And that was only gonna benefit, what, 7 or 8
And for some
properties?
reason, I'm not seeing it in the ARPA reporting. So we voted to take it from the ARPA funds, and I think the people on the mainland are still paying for it. Because you only showed 6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was a $9,000 bill.
What I wanna know
It's
is,
May 9th, 2023, look it
all
up.
this went down without any explanation, any discussion. Maureen Bory, Jerry Galka, Brian Campbell, I don't know about Brian, I shouldn't speak for him. Paul Cassidy all knew about it. I didn't know about it. Mark, did you know about any of this?
Well, you
Tanya,
knew
did you know about any of this?
$150,000 was gonna be spent
That's
on
my dilemma.
feasibility
A
study.
phone call from our supervisor to go, hey, here's what's going on, we got some urgent situations, here's what we're thinking, this is what we should do. But it wasn't. It was swept under the rug for 90 days.
The vote
And
was
then I'm
taken.
told, what's that?
The vote was taken to spend $150,000 on a feasibility study, and it was approved.
But it was not to approve a contract with OHM for $150,000.
They were the only ones that stepped up to the plate.
Well, Maureen, you sent the
So, and those are
RFPs
the
on
facts.
December 22nd, a Sunday. We also had Christmas Eve and Christmas, and then you wanted to buy the 30th of December. What engineering firm is even capable of doing?
Maureen, you should have taken January 1st and moved it back 45 days.
No, we should have put out bids, and it should have been handled by our clerk and opened up.
John, the money wasn't moved in a restricted fund like that, and was left for the board to make a vote on it, back when we first got sworn in, we would've had more time for, but we had to do this by the 30th.
Jerry, the money was already allotted for, it was put in the water fund for revenue replacement.
You can't put ARPA money in a restricted fund.
I don't believe you.
That's what they told me, that's what the CPA said.
In writing, Jerry?
ARPA money is supposed to be spent on something that you wouldn't normally
For
buy.
capital
It's not that.
For everything here, Don. I told you 3 times. I sent you email. Anything. Now you want, I want to see this, I want to see that. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
Put it in writing so I know what I want. So I know what you want, John.
Okay.
Just so you know, if we don't vote on this, $150,000 will be forfeited and no one will die.
Wait a minute, this board put us in that situation at the last minute, taking the money out of the water department.
The
You
board
put us in that
voted for the
situation.
feasibility study, and it's something that should be done.
I don't see anybody.
Last board.
I don't see anybody. Where are all these people clamoring for this feasibility study? And I've got one more question. So, apparently, the option on the Harson's Island for the property where the landing was gonna take place is no longer valid. Explain to me the reason for moving forward with feasibility studies.
Because the feasibility study applies to the whole North Channel.
Okay.
I checked on that.
Okay.
That's what I was
soil
told.
borings?
We had to have an address initially, but that study applies to the whole North Channel. That's why. I wouldn't have done it
So
if
what-
it just was that spot.
So you don't need a specific site for soil borings or traffic
You
studies?
have to have that, but it applies for the whole North Channel. This is common practice.
So then it might go to Dickinson
MDOT
Island?
wanted the study. MDOT is wanted it.
So where is the work being done if that property's not?
Can I drive by?
It's been done, all the work's been done.
All the work for the feasibility study's already
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
Where's
it's
the
done. They're
results?
putting it together.
Soil borings.
So we do have a bill that we need to vote on from OHM that we amended the agenda on for the $51,653.80 for the work that they've already done.
That's true.
Is there additional work coming?
What does it include? Well, I transferred that out to a 1S agenda. And why I did that, I wanted to have some conversation on it. Normally, when you're gonna pay a bill for $51,000 or $52,000, you're gonna have someone from OHM come out here, and although we see it on paper, but I wanna see them in person. I wanna know who we're dealing with. I have no idea, and that's my problem.
We'll bring them to the next meeting.
And there's some questions that I need to ask about the past study, about this study that's gonna be taking place. And another, as John said, if we move forward, I want more accountability on that. And why are they doing work without being compensated?
Because they have a contract, we ratified.
Can you hear you?
done, John?
I'm done.
Move on.
Yes.
One, our appointment of trustee to fill vacancy, candidate review and selection.
Hold on. We have to do something about this bill.
You said one S.
It's after this.
So, how do you move it?
1F.
Okay, sorry, I thought you moved it to where the contract was.
This is the last topic, appointment of trustee to fill vacancy, candidate.
Use the mic.
Selection. I sent everyone an email and an idea. Does anybody feel that this is a bad idea or a good idea?
When did you send me an email?
Today.
Explain it.
Now you're gonna do what you want.
I'm fine with it, it's safe time.
Yeah. I didn't look, but
I thought it was make an effort to save some time in making a decision. Yes.
You want me to read the email to you, John?
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know some of the candidates, so.
Well, it's been posted
Here's
for
the
2
email.
weeks.
No, I understand that.
And so, John, I'm not gonna demand that you tell me why you haven't done anything.
I had no idea where we were even
You
going
go
with it, because
first.
if you remember,
It's on the-
right,
it's
the
on-
whole thing got tabled last time,
And it's on the meeting today.
or voted down, I should say.
I have one that I just received today.
Yeah.
Why don't you try
I
coming
could-
in the
I
office?
could-
Okay.
Hey, Jerry, every time you come in the office, you're not there.
Well, why don't we do this then? Why don't we table this issue? I'll make a motion that we table the issue until the
think it's
next
time.
meeting.
Please.
Do you want me to read the email, Paul?
I'm willing to vote on it, but if
Here's
you're
the
not.
email. Can I read it? So, John hasn't heard it. John, can I read the email to you?
Email from who?
From Paul about the trustee position. I have printed a list of candidates for trustee. They are in alphabetical order. I am suggesting that each person indicate people, plural, that they would like to see on the board by marking yes next to their name. You can support more than one person. If a candidate gets the support of more than 3 board members, we could focus the decision on those people who have support of 4 or more. I think this will expedite the process. And then here, you want me to pass these down? I don't know. Did you print them out?
So that's,
Print it, pass it down to you.
that was my idea. I assumed everybody had read it.
Here, you want to,
So what do we wanna narrow it down to a few and then take 2 weeks? And we can all have a chance to talk with these people and then come back and choose someone in 2 weeks at the next meeting?
If you'd like, that's okay with me.
Fine with me?
So we wanna narrow the list down today.
Everybody can write on here. It's not a vote, it's just
What's our point in narrowing it down?
well, we got 12 candidates. You want to go through each one, Don?
I have no problem with that.
Okay, let's go through them, Don.
We have
You start.
13.
If we want to interview all of these, I have no problem with
I
that.
called and interviewed them. We have 2 weeks.
I call people.
Well, I can tell you that MTA says that if we interview them, we have to interview them in a public meeting.
You just talk to them on the phone. You have to review them all together.
That isn't public.
Okay, the only idea was,
You can talk to them personally.
this is-
What I
As a group,
think we
you
should
can't
do
do it.
I say we just,
You've been doing it all
table
meeting.
John, so that you can talk to whoever you want here at public meeting. Okay?
When we brought you in, John, we didn't even know till that day, that Thursday, when we brought you in on Monday. We didn't know there were 6 candidates. I found out on Thursday, you got voted in on Monday without even being sworn in, got up and voted.
We had a good board.
My suggestion on how we move forward with this is I can contact all these people, and if you guys have received other resumes that maybe I haven't received yet, I can contact all these people and have them come to the next board meeting. We can all ask them questions and try and decide then. Well, we have everybody.
Tanya, there's a couple on this list that I don't think I have their resumes.
Okay, you give me who you need, and then everybody just, maybe there's some that I don't even have yet, if everybody wants to just send me every resume they've got, I can weed through it and make a list for everyone, and then contact them and have them come to the next board meeting.
Good idea.
You sent them all out.
Do election.
Maybe somebody else got one?
You sent out an email with everybody on it.
Okay.
So if we do a vote today.
Why don't you do a search committee?
Mr. Bryson, please, stay out of it, right? Go on social media and tell them what it is. So is that what we're going to do, table this to another meeting?
I will.
I don't have a problem with narrowing it down. You guys want to put me to take a look at work? And then we can see if there's enough for
Make a motion for the next meeting, to bring place and look at it, and back.
What do you think, Mr. Lawyer? Don't know?
That's where you should be.
It's not going
That's what you told me, Mark, that's all.
Hey, pick up the microphone, we'd like to hear what you're talking about.
What are we doing?
Okay, so we made a committee, out of 3 trustees, and we called in everybody, at the, Township Hall in a separate room, and we interviewed them. And at that point in time, we made a selection of, I think it was 3 or 4 people. And then we went back and interviewed them, and then it went to the board, and we got it narrowed down to 2. And then that's when we made a selection.
It never happened with John, I don't know when that happened.
What happened to the Christie?
Everybody can start yelling at us.
Okay, well, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. We need to
Could you
decide
yell
what we're
lack of
doing now.
transparency? You interviewed those people, and you didn't do it in front of the public, and therefore, you have lack of transparency. You see what I mean?
I told you, Mark, and I said, how's this gonna work with John Boyer when they put him on the thing? He said, oh, we're gonna interview everybody. We're not gonna hire, we're not gonna select them that night. And we did.
What is your final decision of what you're gonna do? Just tell me.
No, you're good.
Are you gonna bring them all to a meeting like Tanya suggested, or are you gonna do this with the 6 people there?
Ma'am, we'll make a decision. We don't need your help. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're doing yourself, we don't need to see yourself.
I say we just table it, bring everybody in at the next meeting, so we have complete transparency. Everyone gets to know every candidate. We don't delete candidates because some committee privately in secret decided they wouldn't be finalists, right? We want that transparency, right? Let's just table it to the next meeting. Let them all come in.
So is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna ask them all to come in our next meeting?
Yeah.
I will contact all of them and make sure they're available to come in. So I'm gonna make a motion to table the appointment of a new trustee until the next meeting.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we come to my favorite part of the meeting.
We have to discuss this bill still. We have this
Oh, that's
OHN
right,
bill
one
of
F.
of
All right, so what are we gonna do there? We gonna, okay, I'll second. All right, roll, any more discussion? We need any more? All right, roll call.
What's the motion? Again, you're.
To approve the payment of $51,000.
Mark Richard,
Yes.
Paul Caskey.
Yes.
Jerry Volka.
Yes.
Tony Hogan, yes. John DeBoyer.
No.
Maureen Bory.
Yes.
All right, public comment. Come on up.
Am I holding this okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, first of all, Mr. Cassidy, I have never had all my questions answered about OHL. Never, including today, okay? And during the last few meetings in December, everything was HIDA. All the money was gonna be going to HIDA. But the last 3 minutes of the board comments during the December 20th meeting, you said, during your board comments, last 3 minutes of the meeting, the money is not going to HIDA. It's going to OHM. Then, that was the last meeting of the year. Then on December 23rd, 3 days later, there was a contract from OHM to you, thanking you for trusting them to do business with them. 3 days later. That's pretty darn quick. Yep. So, Mr. Cassidy, as an attorney, you know exactly what the law requires.